I thought it was weird, but because of how it ended up working out against the PA and Bounty Hunter combo, it just didn't really do as much, I think, as Archon wanted it to. And it actually ended up becoming kind of an Achilles heel for the team, right? Like, they just kept pressuring it as MVP. And then your safe lane LC was not really farming quite as well as KP was at any stage. The PA was farming better than the Viper at some points. It just seemed a little bit messy all around. So I'm hoping that Archon can kind of get things together for Game 2. They've already taken out the Bounty Hunter. And I would say that Febby was a total nuisance to Archon in the first game, just by walking around and just making Ush's life total crap.
Yeah, and I think it's totally warranted as well, banning it out first. I mean, we saw in the first draft, Phoenix said, we're going to pick Bounty first, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it, and it was exactly the case. So you've got to take away that opportunity of Phoenix sneaking it through in that first pick. Leshrac, of course, being banned out as well, but that does leave the Queen of Pain still left in the draft, and Phoenix, of course, they're going to take it.
One of the best mid-heroes in 6.84, hands down. Just unbelievably good throughout pretty much every stage in the game. Archon, though, they answer back, and they answer fast. They said, our Tusk, it was a good pick last game. It's a good pick this game. And I'm guessing it's going to be MSS playing it again, unless we see some kind of switching up of draft like MVP Phoenix did with their PA as their 4th or 5th pick. I think it was 5th. Yeah, I think it was 5th pick last game. But, again, getting Queen as first pick, very solid hero. You got that pure damage ulti. You got good laning. There's not many heroes in the pool at all that can really just straight up win against Queen of Pain because Lesh is banned. That's one of the few heroes that I would say, okay, yeah, if you're playing Lesh versus Queen, it's kind of a 50-50, maybe slightly favoring Lesh. But obviously Archon have already taken him out. Now Clockwork, this is a pretty interesting pick. I think that most of the time, if you're playing Clockwork against Gyrocopter, it's a little bit scary, right? Because Clockwork as a hero, you want to isolate a target. You put him in cogs, you pop the battery assault, you go for a kill. If you're playing against Gyro, he can actually kill you in those one-on-one situations, assuming there's no Blade Mail, right? If you have Blade Mail, then Gyrocopter is really bad against Clockwork because you can't ever use your Rocket Barrage. You just die.
Yes.
Because he pops Blade Mail plus the battery assault damage, then you just explode.
I think that's true. And I also like the Clockwork pick in the sense that you've got a Tusk being picked up by Archon, and straight away, Phoenix, you've got 2 heroes that you want to be thinking twice about snowballing into. A, because the Clocks can almost certainly have that blink available to escape, and Clockwork because you can always just kind of pop the cogs down around and say, I'm going to die, but you guys are going to be trapped up in my cogs. So it's 2 heroes already, which aren't necessarily the best to be playing Tusk against.
I feel Clockwork is so disruptive in general.
Yeah.
Say, for instance, the Tusk is snowballing, not even on you, just on anyone, right? And you're able to get yourself in a position where you can pop cogs to cut the rest of the team off. Like, say the Tusk only gets like 1 or 2 people in the snowball. You drop a cogs in between the Tusk and the rest of the team. Tusk does not have an escape mechanism after that, right? You're just like fully committed. It's what we talked about in game 1. So it can be good. Can also be a little bit awkward depending on who gets initiated on and whatnot. But MVP, they played so well last game. I'm not going to doubt the pick. I'm just going to say they know what to do.
Indeed, and what third pick now for Archon? Undying is still in the draft. Now, we saw the side of Phoenix, they picked up the Undying Gyro first game. It was very effective. If you can get the Undying and Gyro with the Tusk, I feel that would be incredibly nice. And at the same time, I kind of want to see some kind of sustain come out for Archon because I'm worried about these snowballs going in, Quap getting herself in position, and then just getting a multi-man Sonic Wave Scream out. And it's actually Archon banning out heroes like the Witch Doctor and the Dazzle, which I would have kind of felt would have been nice for Archon, so they could have had someone on the back lines there to counteract the burst damage with some kind of heal.
Having sustain is always nice, but they do still have their Winter Wyvern available. Can't ever forget about that. I know that they really like that hero, and Chad picked it for himself last game. I'm curious to see what kind of support he's going to go here. I'm assuming they're going to pick at least 1 Disable because of the Queen of Pain, right? So between your 2 supports, you're going to want a stun. They've already taken out Witch Doctor, so I guess Lion is kind of a... He's good against Queen, but he's not good against Clockwork. Okay, it's Rubik. All right, I like that much more. So Rubik can still lift out of cogs if he gets initiated on. Lion is good against Queen again, but the Clockwork hook just means that you're just dead to rights. So I think that Rubik is a good way of kind of solidifying a support who can instantly stop the Queen of Pain. If you catch her out, you know, you got that lift, and then you can snowball into like a punch, and then you got your burst damage. And plus you can steal Blink.
Yes.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, there's already a couple of nice, well, fair few spells that are nice to steal, and also one of the classic Gyro lane partners. You're going to have a good time in lane.
Yeah, this is a combo that we've been seeing for, God, like 5 patches now. When Gyrocopter first came in, I think it was actually more than like a year ago. when people started to realize, Gyrocopter actually just does a ton of damage. Let's partner him with one disable, and then he dies. And back then, the problem with Rubik, it's kind of still the same problem that he has now, is he just doesn't really deal a lot of damage, and he's not a good zoning hero. But if you partner him with Gyro, then all of a sudden you got huge damage. And it doesn't matter if you don't do any on your own, because Gyro just does so much that doesn't matter. But now MVP, I'm looking at their third hero here. They actually took out Wisp, which is a little bit interesting. I mean, Gyro Wisp is still a very strong combo, no doubt. And you can even put Tusk and Wisp in the off lane. It's not that bad. I'm just not entirely sure if Archon... I know Fogged plays Wisp, but I'm not sure how many times they've run it. But again, it just depends on like how your lineup is supposed to function, and if you think that a Wisp is going to be good against you, then you just ban it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, looking at, well, the stats, it is in fact the most banned hero against them, with 26 bans, and the second most banned is the Crop at 12. So a lot of people really don't want Archon getting their hands on the Wisp, and as you said, there's a lot of reasons for that.
Now they're taking their time on the third pick here. First draft definitely went a little bit faster, but MVP, again, still looking at their third hero. Ooh, Coddle, okay. So, Coddle for me is like a hero that is really good in situations where the enemy team doesn't have hard initiators. So think like Spirit Breaker, for example, which right now I don't think Archon can pick it unless they want to put it as support because they already have Tusk. But if you can just sit behind a tower, or you can sit in the woods and stack, and as of right now, Archon with their heroes, I seriously doubt they're going to be looking to go aggressive. You can play this Coddle extremely greedy, right? Like you can stack woods, you can illuminate spam, you can even stack for the queen, you can walk mid, give him free chakra, so you can just dagger forever. There's a lot of synergy with that hero, and especially because this is actually in the stats bible that we were given, is MVP Phoenix have played more than 75% of their matches, or 75% of their matches on Dire side. Okay. They've played 6 games of Radiant total, like league matches, in 6.84, and they've played 15, this will be 16 as Dire. So they are comfortable on this side.
And the strength for the Kotler as well, we've got to talk about the recall, because there's going to be this point, looking at Archon's draft so far, you Tusk, Gyro, and Rubik, we're talking about the combination plays they have potentially. Right. But in terms of heroes going out on their own in the mid game and looking for solo pickoffs, that's not what this lineup's going to be doing. They're going to be grouping up. So if you as MVP Phoenix are able to have this global potential with the Clock and the Queen of Pain, you're able to use the recall there to put pressure on multiple lanes at the same time and try and rip Archon apart. Now, they picked up the Storm Spirit, which in a sense is going to help them against that, because this is a hero that if he gets a good start in the mid, he starts to snowball, he's going to be able to zip straight on heroes like the Kotl and bring him out of the fight before he's able to do anything.
The other nice thing about Storm is Clockwork is like a non-factor for a Storm, like pretty much at any stage in the game, unless the Clockwork goes something like Orchid. It has been seen before, but it's very hard for an offlaner to get that kind of farm, and MVP Phoenix are just like, you know what, you want to pick Storm? That's fine. We'll go ahead and pick ourselves up an Animage, knowing that going aggressive right now for Team Archon, I feel like it's still too dangerous. Like, you need another really good lane support if you want to try to contest that. Like Keeper of the Light, we've seen people try to go aggressive against that hero. If you get illuminated, like 2 or 3 heroes get hit by that, you just spend so much regen. And the thing is, Keeper harasses for free because you have chakra. So as soon as you get to level 2 or 3, your illuminates, you can just throw them all the time. I really think that Team Archon are going to have a hard time trying to pressure lanes. I think what they're going to be looking to do, obviously, is maybe sit a support mid for the Storm for a little while, because Queen versus Storm, the Queen wins, like, pretty hard most of the time, unless there's a huge skill discrepancy and Omni. Okay, so they are like all in on the Storm Spirit. They're like, this is the hero that we need to help carry the game. Repel, fantastic against Anti-Mage because of the mana void issue with Storm, if you fully commit to a fight, so I definitely get that. Gyrocopter is natural BKB buyer, so he's not going to care too much. He'll probably just go his normal item progression. But for me, Omni Knight is a hero that, it's like, for me, it's good and it's bad. It's good because of the Storm combo. It's obvious that you want to try to go in and go for kills, but Omni Knight kind of suffers in games where the enemy team has high mobility. And guess what? Animage and Queen both have extremely high mobility, and there's your Demonic Purge for the Repel. It's going to be the last pick out here from MVP Phoenix. They get the Shadow Demon.
And yeah, I mean, we're talking about the Omnia Knight as well. I guess there's the combo plays with such like the Tusk. You know, we talk about the Tusk Dazzle potential. I mean, you've got the Tusk Purification potential in the laning stage. If you're going to be able to work together as a pair, there's going to be the potential there. But it's going to be interesting to see what Archon are able to pull out the bag with this lineup against that of MVPs. Because as you said, especially with the Shadow Demon, it looks like they're picking very actively, and it looks to favor them in the draft at least.
I really like MVP Phoenix's lineup, but I like the fact that Archon are doing something a little bit different. We don't get to see Omni a whole lot. Like, it's one of the fewer picked heroes in 6.84. And for the reasons that I mentioned, it's just really hard to pick a team that really suits an Omni, because one of two things need to be in place for Omni to be good. The enemy team has to be pressuring you super hard all the time, in which case Repel and Heal are always useful, right, during those skirmish fights. Or you need a team that's going to 5-man a lot and makes use of the fact that Omni has those spells available, or you need a hero that's very mobile and can jump in. So that's what the Storm is for, right? And that's what the Tusk is for. Those are the two heroes that, like, boom, we're going to start the fight. And then our Omni can throw out his Repel on the Storm before he goes in. Because then you're actually utilizing the spell, instead of kind of just sitting around while heroes are, like, blinking everywhere and you can't really ever hard commit to something, you know? You get kited out a lot as Omni, and that's one of his biggest issues. So I think here, Archon have a nice little way of making it so they can take the fights when they want, but I still think the MVP's lineup, I would probably favor it like 60-40, just from draft.
He was doing March do pretty much the same trick that he does in the first game, getting himself straight out immediately into the lane, TPing down, and getting those wards out. I mean, and obviously we do see on the Rubik Fogged, he has got those sentries available for dewarding, but is he going to be able to find what's already been popped down by the Clockwork? And is it going to be in time to shut down this offlane for the Clock? I mean, lane-wise, you know, pretty much everything else we're seeing, kind of expected MSS again is going to be on the offlane Tusk. Got Chad there on the Omni Knight support, Croc on his Storm Spirit, Usher on the Jaram, Fogged on the Rubik, and looking over the side of MVP, nothing too surprising. Qo, he's going to be in that mid on the Quap this time, and we're talking about the fact that that was left through the draft. We should pretty much expect to see the Quap have a very good time at the beginning against the Storm.
That's kind of what I'm assuming as well. They could change the lanes a bit. They could send Ush mid if they wanted to.
Okay.
But as of right now, it looks like Chad's doing a little bit of blocking. We will see Korak actually is going mid. Okay. So it's actually a player comfort factor here, as it is, instead of like going, okay, well, I'm mid, so I just always play mid. They're saying Korak is the Storm player on our team, so he's going to go mid instead.
Here we go. He's going to have a little bit of a backup here. And Chad, okay, he's going to head towards, I guess he's going to go towards the top and maybe look to go for a bit of aggression here with MSS if they want to try for this whole kind of Ice Shard Snowball Purification, which, I mean, squishy heroes like the SD, you're going to be able to have a good shot at it. If you can get that Snowball into him, there's no way you can disrupt anything as big as that. And as soon as the stun comes through and the pure damage as well, he's going to get blown up. So it's going to be interesting to see what this combo of heroes can do on this top lane.
Well, it is a bit annoying for an AM because he's not the best hero at trading, at least for a couple of levels. If it's a solo offlaner and you have that mana break, you can just drain the mana of a hero like Tusk or Omni, like no problem. If you're just like one hero hitting him, you probably don't want to trade at all, and that's why Chad just immediately backs up. He doesn't want to trade mana and health for just health, realizing that Nuts is also in the area and has a ton of tangos and a Salve if need be. So it seems like based on what MVP have bought, they probably anticipated this lane, because KP started with tangos and he just goes immediately poor mans, and they have a ton of extra regen on top of that, so I think they'll be fine here.
Looking at, okay, so with the dewarding there, side of Archon, we're able to get rid of the Observer Vision. I haven't quite found this sentry, of course, hidden away there.
Lane.
Oh, God damn it.
No, Owen, please.
I was doing all right in the first game.
You were doing
I
really
didn't miss a single kill. But unfortunately, yeah, first blood there in the mid lane. Going to the Queen of Pain, pretty much as we expected as well. We were talking about the fact that Storm was going to potentially have a pretty nasty time there in the earlier few levels, and indeed Qo takes the most of it and gets the kill.
Yeah, it's really nice that MVP are able to get this hero matchup. Like, this is the matchup that you want, and maybe part of the reason why, like, Storm is still very good, but you got to get him past the laning phase. That's the one problem. And again, it seems like the mid might be kind of the downfall here for Archon. Not in terms of just how it's played, but because the hero matchup is just not favored for their mid. And that means that their other two lanes have to do very, very well to compensate. So like bottom lane, they need to make sure that March is zoned out completely, but you say that, and he's already level 3.
Yeah, he's been having a grand old time on the bottom lane. Top lane, KP going for a bit of a walk around. He's got the blink available, so he's not in any kind of trouble. But Chad and MSS continuing to do what they can here to shut down the AM's farm. So far in terms of CS, he's on 9 for 1. You look over to the side of Archon, they have got 14 for 4, so they are certainly slowing down the AM a little bit, but he's not finding nothing up here. He's still finding something with the backup and nuts on the Shadow Demon.
The other thing, too, that we have to keep in mind is even if the AM is not farming, they know that their mid is winning. So QO is doing a really good job against Korok. It's 7-2 compared to 14-5 on QO, and he already got a kill. So we're keeping that in mind when we say that even if the AM's farm isn't good in the beginning of the game, he will have a lot of recovery time, because outside of the Storm, who goes on KP? Like, who punishes him during the mid game? It has to be Korok. So if he's not having a good start, how is Korok going to punish the AM?
It's going to be hard, and I mean, we're seeing MSS on this top lane because of the mana break. He is down to pretty much not being able to do anything at all with his skills. He has got that emergency mango available, so maybe he can look for the surprise play. Febby actually wrapping around here, maybe thinking about looking for a courier. The courier is actually going to be kept held in the tree line here, so it's going to be safe for the time being. And yeah, it's brought over here, they've spotted it out, and Febby, he's not going to be able to do anything apart from just be a little bit of a nuisance here, throwing the Illuminates in, making the lane a little bit tougher. Korok, and well, there we go with the blast. QO blinking forward here, trying to go for something. He's not got quite enough damage to deal with the Storm Spirit, and now with the TP reaction from Fogged as well. But again, just pressuring this Storm ever so heavily and pretty much crushing the lane at this point.
I mean, making him rotate like that, it also means that March is going to be able to get bottom rune because Fogg's not there to zone out the Clockwork. So March is going to get a haste. He might even be able to do something with this.
Oh, now.
They still have 2 heroes mid. QO's got full mana. I think they go for a kill here.
How far is the crop off 6? Very close. This isn't going to give it to him.
Are they going to wait it out?
Oh, this creep wave will, yeah, maybe. I mean, March, he's got a few, well, about 15 seconds left on this haste.
Ah, no, okay, he's going to go back. It would have been nice if QO could have got 6, because they definitely could have killed if he had that haste and he walks in. Like, Korok's level 4! He's level 4 at 4 minutes. Now, he'll hit 5 in just a second, but he doesn't have boots. He's still being forced to bottle crow a lot. And again, it just seems like Archon are the ones who are reacting to MVP. Archon are never really able to do something that says, hey, you have to do something about us. It's always, oh, MVP are making a move, we gotta react. It's all reactionary Dota from them.
I mean, the question is as well, what is the plan with this Tusk Anomaly? I mean, they're obviously trying to do what they can to stop KP, but 27 CS is pretty much almost doing as well as the Jar. In fact, you pretty much could say he is.
Lane.
And indeed, mid lane Q. Oh, gets the ult out. Will find the kill into Storm. Fogged. Oh, the Illuminate. He's going to be lucky that he had that sound, because that was nearly him dropping as well. But, I mean, there we have it. Archon, they try and find a kill, but they end up losing the Storm for the Quap before she goes down, and that really wasn't what they were looking for.
Well, on the bright side, Fogg got some experience out of that, and much needed, I might add. He was only like level, like barely 3, maybe even level 2 when that hero went down. So now he's like more than halfway to 5, and the Rubik getting 6 is pretty important for this game. Like, you want to be able to spell seal. Oh my god, that mana burn. All right, so MSS really can't do much of anything at this point. He's still got that salve and a mango in his inventory. But we can start to see, like KP, he's realizing his limits as we see Korok also kind of getting just harassed more and more in this middle lane. And again, this is what makes MVP so scary, is they know their timings. They realize that Storm is not 6. Why not just throw out a casual Illuminate on mid? Make Korok go back. Don't let him get that level 6 for free. They're just always knowing when they can pressure.
He's incredibly deep here and all on his own. Nuts and KP and the wraparound coming in as well from QO. MSS, he's got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. He's got a mango if he wants to emergency snowball, and he's actually going to go for it there with the mango plays, but I don't know what he's going to achieve with that, apart from just prolonging his death as he goes forward onto QO. QO still finishes him off, and well, that's a mango down and a touchdown as well.
Once again, really nice rotation coming in from MVP, and at this point, Archon didn't have any vision of any of top, as far as I know. They had a ward mid that's freshly placed, and then they had that one ward in bottom that's helping out Ush, but there really haven't been any rotations for March. Like, they don't seem too content on helping the offlaner, and I say that, but March doesn't even need it. He's level 5. Okay, here we go.
They're going to try and go for something here. It looks like they'll be able to find it, and well, they certainly needed that. Kill there for the Gyrocopter. Mid lane though, the pressure's being applied by Q. Illuminate flying through as well. This time the Purification, the Repel, they might be able to turn this one around. In comes the Tusk as well with the Snowball moving on to QO. He's not going to be able to get himself out of that one. They bring down the Queen of Pain as well. And that was a rotation that Archon surely needed, and very well done as well, just keeping everyone alive in the mid lane there thanks to the inclusion of that Omni Knight.
Yeah, finally Archon getting a little bit of footing here in game number 2, making something happen. They get the kill on the bottom lane. They stop March from hitting 6 a little bit sooner, which is good. and they also get a very much needed kill on the Queen, like you mentioned. And even though they had to react pretty heavily for that, I think Chad was already in the area, and then there was a TP in from MSS, but it's well worth it. Like, the Queen is the one who's going to snowball really hard, and if you can stop QO from getting off the ground and just kind of controlling the game, that means that stopping the AM will become easier for you. You don't have to worry about the Queen always being in your face and having to counter gank him, and then just having like KP sitting in the woods and farm. You can just say, okay, well, maybe we can actually formulate a gank on the AM, and it's going to be necessary at some point.
There's a bit of a rotation down this bottom lane now. We're seeing Nuts and Cure hang around here. Level 6 not quite on March. He's going to hit it here with this wave. Looks like the timing wasn't there for the SD and the Quap. As Quap will pick up the rune, head back towards mid. Chad's coming down here to back up his side. And Nuts, he's not going to be able to do anything bottom. Ping's coming out towards the mid lane QO. He is level 8 though still, and Korok, he's at level 7, so he's certainly closing the gap. But as you said, it's never fantastic to play a Storm from behind.
The one thing about Storm, though, is if you get that level 6 and you get your mobility going, you can kind of recover.
Okay, but he's got a
MSS.
here. MSS is so dead. Surely, if he can get it. Oh!
Nice
he still gets
blink.
it. Still gets it. The pings are coming out. He's going to go straight for the TP out, and rightfully so.
I actually love how he TP'd to his tower instead of TPing back to base. You know how many players would have just said, I'm going to base right now. But KP's like, nope, I'm fine. I can sit here. Maybe I can even draw a reactionary TP, and his support can come by and heal himself.
They're going to find a kill on some Arch here with a missile flying through here. They drop the cooldown, chasing it down with a rocket barrage. And didn't even need the second one there, Ush. He's going to find himself that second kill. So, looking at the last hits at the moment, the Gyro is at the top. So that is the one kind of bit of silver lining here for the side of Archon. And if we have a look at the net worth between the heroes at the moment, it is Gyro as well at the top of the moment, 4.2k. So it's all going to be kind of on what this Gyrocopter can achieve for the team.
I think Gyro is... he's pretty good mid-game against AM, but I don't think late-game he's that useful, because a lot of his damage is magical, of course, and you have that spell shield, and plus, Gyro doesn't really have good chase potential, so carry versus carry matchup, the Gyrocopter is not really meant to deal with the AM as much as I think the Storm is. And in that sense, Korok's going to need to have a much better game than what he's had so far, because it's almost 10 minutes in. He's got 25 CS. QO is like doubling him in terms of overall farm. And that's even with QO dying twice. So all in all, there's still a long way to go, I think, before the Storm Spirit, at the very least, is back in this game. But Archon are still having a much smoother early game than I would say than game 1.
And QO trying to bully Korok, and well, we do have on the high ground, Febby was down the Kotl. But Korok's got a lot of backup. We're pretty much seeing MSS and Chad just hanging around this mid lane, waiting for the Quap to overextend, but it's not going to be the case. QO backing up and picking up an Invis rune, heading towards the top lane. KP's going to start to pressure it. Maybe they're going to see if any kind of reaction comes out and see if they can turn on the side of Archon. QO just heading towards the mid now as well. Ush, he's picked up the Ogre Club. Has he got anything else on the courier? Doesn't look like it at the moment.
Middle. Oh, what a burst.
Missed that. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
He instantly killed him. Like, he blinked forward, just ulti scream, just killed Korok basically from full HP. He didn't even get his stick off. Fogged? Okay, there's no demonic purge up on Nuts yet, so he's safe.
It's another big... I mean, taking down the Storm Spirit at this point. He's managed to pick up a Rover the Magi on top of the brown boots, but it's not a lot. You look at QA's farm, he's got 1,800 gold now on top of the treads, the null tally, and the bottles. So he's looking very wealthy indeed on this Quap.
I think he maybe goes Orchid this game. It's really nice against Omni and Storm, for obvious reasons. Like, if you blink in, you silence the Storm, and there's no Omni nearby, you just kill him. QO, gonna take some harass here. But I think Orchid could be the play. If he wants to go for Aghanims, that's pretty good too. Just to keep yourself safe, you know? You have that Aghanims HP, even if you get jumped on, there's a good chance you just live through the burst.
QO, he double backs it towards the mid lane with the Invis. He's just gonna pop it straight away. Doesn't really want to look for much, and you were talking about how MVP favor the Dire side. We've certainly been seeing both Nuts and Febby using the jungle to their advantage. I mean, you've got level 7 nearing level 8 on this Kotl, and he's got a point booster already with 700 gold, so it is looking pretty good for this Kotl. He's third on the CS board because of this jungle.
The way that they're controlling the game, because KP now has his treads, he has his perseverance, he doesn't need help in lane anymore. Like, look at him, he just walks up to MSS and just hits him. He's like, fine, you want to be in my lane? I'm gonna harass. Both of MVP supports are capable of farming the jungle. They have Shadow Poison on Nuts, and like you already said, Febby's just been farming with Illuminate spam, so their map efficiency right now far outweighs Archon. And that's another issue with picking a hero like Omni Knight, is he doesn't have any way of farming the jungle unless he gets an early soul ring. And unfortunately for Chad, he spent the majority of his early game running around, trying to stop people from dying. And that's what you should do as an Omni. But because, again, their mid matchup is so disfavored, and top lane, AM's already past the point where he's super vulnerable. It just means that MVP have a really smooth transition in this mid game where Archon are pressured to do things, but they're having a very hard time finding an opening.
I mean, I hadn't realized this as well. The fact that he was on the courier when we were looking at Febby. He's pretty much got 3/4 of the Aghanims. This is going to be an incredibly fast Aghanim Scepter on the Kotl, which is going to be ridiculously hard to fight into if you're the side of Archon.
Once it's daytime and they have that, they can just push every single tower. You get 100% heal from the Illuminate during daytime, which means you're healing for 500 every single Illuminate. 500. That's like half of Queen's HP, even though he's got a point booster and he's going for the Aghanim, so he's not going to go Orchid. But I think like this situation is.
Oh, he gets the repel off. It doesn't matter. They even throw down the purge there as well to make sure there's no way that Chad gets out of it. And oh, Chad, he was the victim of a lot of pain and terror coming there from the side of MVP.
I gotta hand it to MVP, man. Like, even though this game is closer in the first 13 minutes in game number 1, because I think in game 1, Archon had already lost almost all their outer 2 towers, it still really feels like there's nothing that Archon has been doing to pressure MVP at all. Like, they've gotten a couple of counter kills, but have they actually forced an issue at all once?
Oh, do they want to fight this? They're sitting a lot of TPs here, and they managed to catch KP here with the telekinesis. Can they bring him down? Oh, the disruption! Actually cancelling the blink. Is that the right move? KP is going to go down. I don't know if that disruption was the play there. They've lost the AM. They lose the Shadow Demon as well. They are able to deny the tower. Also, their team Archon. And I think he was going to get that blink off there.
Yeah, he definitely would have. I think that disruption killed him, but you know what happens? In the moment you see it and you're like, oh, I got to disrupt him, otherwise he's just going to die. I mean, stuff like that does happen from time to time. So, Archon, they're showing a little bit of their color here. They're going to go for the tier 1 top lane after getting those 2 nice counter kills. They might go on mid as well.
Oh, Snowball is going to be able to connect. No, not by the looks of it. He'll throw out the BMI shards. Isn't going to be able to do anything else after it. Kyo is able to grab himself a haste stream. Top lane, Archon chat. Looks like they'll be able to take down this tier 1. Fortification comes out, but it doesn't look like any kind of real defense will come out from the side of MVP. Well, this is kind of what we expected. When they start to use the gyro in the fights, they're going to go well for the side of Archon. I mean, he's top of the net worth board. He's got a completed S and Y on top of the phase boots and Aquila as well. So he's going to be punching pretty efficiently at 15 minutes in. I mean, what do you think about the decision here to go for the S and Y rather than the early BKB?
I think if you have to go BKB, you might not do enough right-click damage. I think that's maybe his thinking here. Because if you go for S and Y, you're really fast, you have good chase potential, you hit relatively hard. I mean, you still hit for 153 damage at 15 minutes. That's not bad. So you can still pressure the AM. You don't have to rely on your Rocket Barrage and your Call Down to do all of your damage for you. And like you mentioned, just having the completed S and Y already, maybe they can start to pressure a bit. But we say that, and Febi's got his Aghanims, man. He's got his Aghanims 15 minutes in.
Wow.
Position 4 Keeper of the Light. Like, this is this is a huge problem. Like, how are they actually going to push? They need to be able to kill Febby, but he's got 1100 health. He's got more farm than Korok.
Yeah.
Okay, so the net worth is like, it's barely leading.
Very close, but that's your mid-storm against your position 4 Keeper of the Light.
Yeah. I think Archon have maybe put themselves into a situation where they look at a mid matchup and they say, okay, our hero doesn't need to win the lane. He just needs to function during mid game. But sometimes, in order to function mid game, you need to win your lane. Like, you actually just need to have some kind of help. Because Korok gets first blooded, and then he gets killed 2 more times. And he's, to his credit, he's farmed very well, given the circumstances. Like, he's got 85 CS at 16 minutes. It's just such a hard game for him.
I mean, looking at this gang now, they're smoked up.
Yep.
This is QO just picking up the Aghanim Scepter here on the Crop, and he's level 11 as well. So whoever you jump, you're going to be killing. I don't see this going any other way. We'll see if the side of Archon are able to prove me wrong. Chad and Fog hiding behind the tree line.
They got the vision
here
as well from the Coddle Aghanims.
Oh, man.
They can see Fog.
There we go. Indeed they can. Hookshot's training, but he's got the blink stolen there. They'll try and chase this one down. Demonic Purge thrown in as well. Fox is going to have the blink in a second. Yes, he gets it off. But no, Cure chases him down there. We'll be able to finish him off with that final bit of burst. Pings are coming out. Can they actually do anything to turn this? Chad is there with MSS, but it's just the 2 of them. We want to try and find this one. March rolls down the Cox. There's going to be the... Oh, there we go there with the ultimate Cure. Will bring down the Omni Knight. War's punch from MSS, but he's snowballing down to 3 of them. They'll throw down the poison onto him, but now Korok, he's turning up to the fight. He wants to turn this one around. They brought down 2 now. He looks for Cure. as well. There's going to be a homing missile coming through as well, but it's not going to connect in time to cancel the blink. But they will chase this one down. He's going to have another blink here in a few seconds. Can QO escape this? Ush moving in close and personal as well. The missile, it looks like he's just not going to be quick enough. They can't get the quad. They can't control her. And KP as well, he turned in to have a look in, but he decides, nope, I don't want anything to be a part of this one. Backs himself out of the fight. But again, I've got hats off to Archon there. They lost their hero, but they do take down the Kothel and they take down the SD as well. So they find something in return. But we're looking at the Tanti Mage, and you've got to say, okay, so this is an AM with the Battle Fury treads complete now. What can you do to stop this man from farming?
This was also a dual offlane from Archon. So Chad spent a pretty good amount of his early game sitting top with MSS, just trying to pressure the AM lane, right? Like Chad was just running at him, just like, okay, don't farm, don't farm. And that also means that MSS actually has a lot of farm. He's level 9, he's got 2,200 gold and arcanes. So if he wants to go for Guardians, he can do that. If he wants to go for like something else, like maybe Shadow Blade for a little bit more damage, he can do that too.
Oh, QO goes straight forward there onto Grok. Trying to scare him off. He's got that ultimate
he goes
available again.
Okay.
Blink Tusk, I guess it's kind of what the defensive in terms of getting in there, saving heroes, maybe from the Sonic Wave, maybe from the ultimate from Quap if you've got the timing right, getting into the snowball.
You can do a lot of stuff. You can blink into cogs, put somebody in a snowball to keep them safe.
Yeah.
You can snowball and then blink away as like an escape defensive mechanism. You can blink in and punch somebody to try to get a hard initiation. There's a lot of good plays that you can do with Tusk when you have blink daggers, so I do like the pickup. The one thing about it is their damage output is kind of lacking. Like, we saw the fact that they couldn't kill the Queen of Pain. Like, there was no way they had enough damage to chase QO. So they're going to need, like, a Storm initiation or a Tusk jump into, like, a heal. And then Rubik and Gyro are going to have to follow it up. Like, they need everything, all of their damage to be able to kill.
Diva into the mid lane here, trying to find this farm for the lane that's being pushed in by QO. Ping's coming out as well, but he has no backup at all. In fact, Archon, they're kind of hanging around here as a 4-man in their own jungle. And they do need to make some kind of movement because it doesn't feel like they're achieving that much being grouped up as 4 here.
Well, being grouped right now is kind of just because MVP have a tendency to play very aggressive. And they just want to continue looking for the fights, right? And if you look at the map, they have pretty limited vision on the side of Archon. Like, they have a bottom rune ward, and that's about it. So now, Archon, they're going for the smoke. I guess they're looking for the AM.
So let's see if they can control. They've got the telekinesis. They do have that blink snowball as well, of course, from MSS. Water's been popped down, but AM, well, his spider senses are tingling. He's going to continue to farm here. I mean, can they control and catch KP here? They just need to look around the corner. Oh, he's big forward. Oh, that's not the play from KP. It looks like Archon have managed to outplay the anti-mage there, and they catch him out. And, I mean, that's a big kill there. Fair bit of money going to the Tuscan. Being able to take down the AM is exactly what you need to be doing once he gets his Battle Fury online.
Getting him off the map is fantastic. He did manage to buy most of his Vlads before he died. I think he just needs the recipe? Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the headdress.
So he's like 250 away. And once he gets that, he'll always
use the ring, doesn't he? As well, the Ring of Health.
No, that's the headdress.
Yeah,
it makes it into the headdress,
It's in the headdress now, of course.
So yeah, once he gets that going, he'll be able to farm at 100% health all the time. He can stay at a consistent amount of mana just by tread switching with Battle Fury and Vlads. Like, you actually just don't lose mana anymore, which is really nice too. And in the meantime, even though they saw their AM die, they're still pressuring the bottom lane a bit. Archon are actually able to get themselves back into a position to defend. And this game is still, like, to me, much, much closer than Game 1. I mean, heck, Game 1 was over in 30 seconds from now.
I mean, Archon, they've got to this point where you look at them and they could very well take a fight if they're able to execute it correctly. Yeah. And they've got 4 heroes down here on the bottom lane. Maybe thinking about putting the pressure on March and Febby, the only 2 here on the side of MVP. And here we go, MSS blinking forward with the Ice Shards. Fog looking for the wrap round. March will be able to shut himself out, but no, the telekinesis is there, holding him under the cooldown. He's getting low. He might just live, though. He's going to be able to get himself out, being bowled up as well. He's going to be fine. Now with the reaction from MVP, QO, does he want to try and catch anyone out, chase anyone down? It looks like they're just going to be forcing back the side of Archon, but Archon, they want to go back in. The ping's coming out to QO. Missile is there, and he will blink straight back. Doesn't want to hang around when he knows a telekinesis and a snowball could be potentially round the corner. But all in all, I mean, Archon, they try and go in and get the kill, but MVP, they're there this time with the backup and with the defense.
I can't believe they didn't even get March. Like, he only has 1,000 HP, so the fact that he lived through that was a really, really nice hook shot that he threw out there. And Korok, he's got his Bloodstone now, so he's kind of getting his way back into the game. If you look at even just the CS, he has recovered amazingly well. I mean, sure, Queen of Pain, I think, is he actually just going straight for Octarine? He's got Soul Booster and Aghanims. So he is damn tanky at this point. 1800 health.
Oh, Karak is going to go on KP, and they've got MSS here as well. If they can stagger it here with the snowball, it's not going to be enough. And he will be able to blink himself away. And KP, he's got some friends around the corner. He's got that backup. Nuts and March moving in. Hookshot is available. Queen of Pain with the ultimate as well. I think Archon realized they need to get themselves the hell out of there. There's going to be the TP out for Karak, but it could be MSN. SS that's left in trouble here. He's stuck by the secret shop. KP moving forward here. QO blinking forward. There's going to be a snowball.
He'll be able to blink.
Well, let's see what we can do if KP can blink after him. He's trying to look for the jukes to MSS. And yeah, I think he's just done it.
Oh,
they see him. They see him. War's Punch will be there. Pops the stick charges. Trying to do what he can to slow the death, but it doesn't matter. KP, Anti-Mage will find the kill down to the Tusk.
Yeah, it was a nice attempt from MSS. He bought a lot of time, if nothing else. That was 4 heroes sitting there for a pretty good stretch. So it means Korak's going to be able to do some damage to mid. Febby, unfortunately, is bottom, so Chad's not really able to get much out of that situation. But you know, Archon have they stagnated the pace of the game, which I think is actually pretty good for them right now, because it's not MVP pushing them over and over anymore. Now it's kind of like our Gyro is farming, our Storm is farming, even though the AM is still highest in terms of overall CS. KP is going to have to finish up his completed Manta before he really feels very comfortable fighting. And in that time, Korak with his Bloodstone and a Repel, he could still potentially get kills. So I'm looking for Archon to still kind of try to pressure a bit. Maybe they want to wait for Korak to get up an Orchid or maybe a Hex, and they're looking for QO right now, but he's staying in the trees.
Carefully. He's not going to try to blink out for this one. I think he might just need to let Febby know. No, he's going to try and turn it around. He's going to go for it. But now they're trying to play it here with Chad with the ultimate, allowing Karak to continue to fight. But this QO is incredibly tanky with the Soul Booster. The War's punch him up, and now the cooldown coming through. QO's blinked himself out, but it's March that's stuck in the midst of it all. March will go down here on the clockwork, and Ush with the BKB looking for Nuts. He's going to find another kill, bringing down the Shadow Demon. KP's trying to turn this one around. They snowball forward on QO. Can they bring down the Quap? Karak coming in, brings him in. It's going to be another kill. It's a 4-for-1, and this decided Team Archon easily coming out on top. What a fight for the side, and MVP just falling apart in that one. Looking at the fight recap, a massive swing. 3k gold difference coming out of that one, and over 3k in terms of XP. What a fight from Archon, and I've got to say, it all just started off with that perfect use of the Guardian Angel from Chad.
Oh, they get their Courier as well. That was 3,400 gold on that.
Oh,
that was Yasha and more items, I think. I think it was KP's Yasha and something else.
Oh god.
That's bad news if you're, oh man, if you're MVP, you are not happy about that at all.
That is not good for. I mean, let's have a look at the graphs. I don't know if that fight will have ticked in yet. No, it's not quite ticked in. I mean, it's already gone back to the favor of Archon in terms of XP, but once that fight's on there, it's going to be a few thousand. I imagine there's going to be backup. Okay, it is pretty much that. Okay, so it pretty much just equalized the lead that MVP were able to get. So we are very much back to square one, and if anything, at this point, with this Gyrocopter and the fact that he's got 5 kills, 2 assists, hasn't died at all, Ush, you know, he's top of the board in terms of net worth and looking very good at this point of the game.
Having that BKB available as well and 2,300 gold, like he can go for MKB, and then his physical damage is fully online, right? Like he's gonna hit for well over 200 with that item. And because he can just bait out purges, he can just BKB after the purge comes out. Nice deny coming in from Febby. A little bit of a cheeky play, as you would say, Owen. But
I would indeed. I took the words out of my mouth there.
I'm impressed with the way that Archon are playing this. Like they seem pretty shaky in game 1. They've managed to bring themselves like fully back and are now like contesting MVP here in game 2.
It certainly is impressive stuff indeed. I mean, it still comes down to the fact that the MVP, they have got this anti-mage.
Yep.
He's got 2.1k gold on top of what he had lost on the Courier as well. So I mean, there's going to be the point in
Roshan Sneak.
Oh, this is the play as well.
This is really good.
Look where Archon are. They're all on the top half of the map. They're not aware of this at all. And KP with the lifesteal, it's not going to be the quickest, but he should be able to do it. I don't see Archon coming here anytime soon. There's actually going to be a rocket flare coming out from that angle, so maybe Archon will realize from that they may be doing Roshan.
It has to be a little bit obvious now. Like, no one is showing on the map right now for MVP, not a single hero. The first person who's going to show is going to be QO. So maybe that information says to them that they're not going to be able to do much, and they're even scared of him. Like, because they don't have any other vision farther into the woods, they couldn't see anyone else. Like, they didn't even see the Shadow Demon. So they think that they're actually getting counter-ganked. They don't know they're doing Roche.
Indeed, now it's going to be Roshan down. Anti-Mage picking up the Aegis of the Immortal. And top lane, Archon continues to push it. I've got to be honest, one thing I'm most impressed about is Korok. Talking about the guys going in for a kill, there's going to be a defensive disruption onto Kyo, but he's found the silence already. Korok has got that Orchid complete. They'll blow up the Queen of Pain. And Korok, a man who was punished in the laning stage, but suddenly he's got 13 charges on a Bloodstone. He's got the Orchid as well, 4 for 3 for 3. This man, he's totally turning around the pace of the game for himself.
That big team fight bottom put him like at Orchid, pretty much. Like he went from having a Bloodstone at 21 minutes to finishing an Orchid in 6 minutes. Think about that. Like it took him how long to farm 5,000 gold? 21 minutes? Well, I mean, of course they're gonna buy like treads and Wanda bottle and stuff, so it's not really fair to say that long, but just the acceleration of farm that he got once he had his Bloodstone was nuts. So that team fight puts Korok in like a very good position in terms of item progression versus what MVP have right now, especially considering the courier from MVP was dead. Oh, he killed it again. He gets 4,200 gold on the courier. Korok. He kills the courier twice? What? Oh my god, that's actually so painful.
He's going to look to start a fight about Fog. He's got a Glimmer Cape, and now it's going to be us turning around with the BKB. He doesn't give a damn about your Blade Mail March. We'll take down the clockwork here. They're going to try and continue to fight here. KP going into the center field, moving forward, but MSS with a punch. He wants to try to deal with Febby, but Febby's just a little bit too tanky. Now Korok turning up, they're taking down the Coggle. Korok just get the ornament out, but now Chad here with the Guardian Angel. Oh, Korok blows that. There was no repel there to protect him. Chad's going to lift the TV out. He's going to find it. There's no way to cancel it. They're blinking forward MVP, trying to find more. They do lose Korok and MSS there on the side of Archon, but they find 3 kills on MVP. And again, at this point, it really seems like Archon, it's just, and the fact that that courier kill, again.
That courier had 4,300 gold on it. That was pretty much an entire Manta that just died.
Damn.
I don't know, man. Like, oh, middle lane.
Well, hello with the Orchid. I'm curious, what are you going to do?
He's
what
gonna
are
die.
you going to do? He's
That's
certainly
what he's
going to do. Yeah, where's your Octarine now? That's 18 for 12. I mean, it just feels like MVP. What is going wrong here for MVP? Are they just buckling under the pressure? Is this?
It's kind of the effect that a storm gives you. Yeah. I think that's what they're having the hardest time dealing with. Because if he goes on Shadow Demon, for example, and he gets an Orchid off, there's no counterplay. Like all you can do is hook him, and then potentially you get a Demonic Purge if you don't just die before the silence wears off. But Shadow Demon is the hero who is meant to protect. So if Korok ever has vision and he sees that hero, he's going to jump him, like 100% of the time. And there's very little chance with a repel that Nuts is going to be able to live through that. So MVP, they need like another defensive item, like maybe a Glimmer for Nuts to be able to live through that. And then they can start looking to try to turn the fights. Now, fortunately for Archon, they've been fighting with an AM who's sitting at a significantly lower net worth than he should be because they've actually just killed his courier twice in a row before it was even able to deliver anything to him. So that part of it is also helping tremendously. I think once KP is able to get his items in his inventory, we could be seeing maybe a bit of a different complexion during these fights. And also, we saw the weakness showcased of the Storm AM matchup for the Storm. When Korok was out of mana, he gets mana voided for 1,100 damage. And then he just explodes. So it's very, very important to have Korok repelled all the time. He may even go buy a BKB or a Linken's even.
He's picked up, the Ultimate Orb, so maybe the Linken's on the menu.
It could be a Hex too.
So we have got the Bastion now onto, well, he's still at home in the base. He's got to help he can get that one out safely to him without losing the courier. And as we said, once the courier is back, he'll have that Manta style as well. Smoke up here from the side of Archon. This is also going to be at a point where Ush has got the completed Butterfly. And they're just going to head up to the shop. And they've not bought a gem out yet, have they, on the side? No. There's a fair few sentries down here, and it was looking for that ward that was giving them vision, Archon vision of the secret shop, and they did find it. With that sentry on the cliff there, they were able to remove it. So it's going to be unlikely they're going to lose the courier again. And now with the courier back, finally managed to get its items out. There's going to be the 4-staff on Febby on the Kotl. And we look towards KP, who has indeed got the Manta and the Basher. So maybe this is fight time for MVP. Maybe they can come on top of the side of Archon in engagement. And here we go, blinking forward here, looking for Fog. Fog is going to run away. Glimmer Cape, but it doesn't matter. The pure damage bursting him down here, Chad. He's been Glimmer Caped up. In fact, it was Fog just saying, I'll save you, buddy. I can't save myself. And now the Korok going for caught here with the silence onto Febby, trying to pick down the Coral. There's going to be a big cooldown here. He's going to catch a Febby. Ush, he just turns up to the fight, but it's already not looking great for Archon. They've lost 3 heroes. Ush has managed to find 2 in return, but Karaki's still alive here, and he's able to turn it here. KP over the bashes, and now it's KP and QO that are going to look for Ush. Ush is going to try to TP out now, hoping missile is going to buy him the time, because KP isn't going to be able to look for the right clicks, look for the bashes, and he will be able to get himself out on the Gyrocopter. But indeed, as we were saying, MVP with those item pickups and with the fact that this anti-mage is looking pretty scary. Now he's got those items under his belt. They couldn't come on top of that fight, and it does end up as 3 for 4 for the side of MVP.
It was just nice for MVP that they were able to jump in before Korok got an initiation. I thought he would try to cut off the rest of MVP by just jumping in straight away, because he actually had vision of a few of the heroes walking high ground, and obviously the rest of Archon were there too. And we saw there, he went for Febby. You can't do that. You can't go for the Coddle. You have to go for Shadow Demon every single time. There's no Glimmer Cape at all on MVP. Even if, for whatever reason, Nuts gets Force-Staffed, it doesn't matter. You're Storm. You just chase him. Because as soon as he goes on Febby, there's a disruption. He wastes a huge amount of his mana pool trying to kill a hero that he just can't kill, because he uses the Orchid on Febby and pulls it too. So if you're going to pull Febby, you have to Orchid Shadow Demon, or you just Orchid Shadow Demon and straight up kill him, because that hero also counters your Omni Knight. So if you get purged because the Shadow Demon is alive because your Storm doesn't jump him, it has to be the Storm. Like, he has to be the one to make the plays.
And this is the worrying thing as well, of course. At this point, KP, he can afford to pretty much free farm wherever he wants on the map. With the Manta Star, the Orchid, not going to be an issue no more. And we are maybe past that window in which the Storm is going to be able to crush and, well, just control and slow down the farm of a hero like the Anti-Mage.
He's more, in this game, for now, he is more of a support killer than anything else.
Yeah.
Like, the AM is going to jump on a support, and then the Storm is going to jump on a support. Like, that's just how they're going to function, because the AM in the start of the fight can't keep up with the Storm because he has potentially full mana, right? Like, he's going to be able to ball everywhere, he's elusive, he's annoying, hard to kill. Same thing for AM versus Storm. The Storm doesn't want to have to waste his mana chasing an AM around a team fight. So what they do is they both ignore each other until the supports are out of the fight, or the Storm is out of mana, and then the AM will just drop a mana void on him. Or if you have Abyssal Blade, which has just been picked up by the Storm, now you could potentially see the Storm getting jumped. But it's still, if the Omni's nearby, maybe not as likely. Maybe he just goes on Omni and just Abyssals him and blows him up, or the Rubik.
I mean, at this point as well, you know, Archon, they had a few good team fights. The last one, not so much. Are they looking to, do they still need to look to put on the pressure, or can they afford to sit back and continue to find a further few items on their cores?
I think if you're Archon at this point, you're okay with like a little bit of the farm game. It's not like Ush has bad farm. I mean, look at him. He's got BKB, Butterfly, SNY, Dominator. Like, he's farming insanely fast. The fact that he's like even within 100 CS of the AM is pretty impressive, because AM's like one of the fastest farmers in Dota, right? And he's only 3k net worth behind. So I'd say that Archon are probably, they're pretty comfortable. Because the other thing too that we have to keep in mind is the Queen of Pain is not a physical damage hero, right? So it's all magical damage and pure damage, which means that once BKBs start coming out in mass and Glimmer Capes, the Queen is going to be a lot less effective than a mid-storm. Like in the ultra late game, unless you're going some like Refresher, Hex, Aghanims build for Queen, your late game transition just isn't quite as potent as the Storm can be. So I think Archon are okay with it, and MVP, they're looking to be on the aggressive here.
Smoked up already, but I do believe they smoked underneath this very deep rated war. But I don't know if it's going to matter, because here we go straight in onto MSS. MSS is going to get taken down here. Karok very low as well. Will be able to zip himself away. Champ's caught the GA, but it doesn't matter. He's going to go down as well too. Hero drop on Karok will be able to find the kill though onto KP, bringing down the Anti-Mage in return. Now losing the Tusk and the Omni Knight, but finding the Anti-Mage.
I'd say that's still okay.
Oh, Karaki, he's going to pop the Orchid down, but I don't know if he wants to stick around. Because QO, he's going to have an ultimate here in a few seconds. And
he's got BKB too.
Is he going to go for Fogged? Oh, well, Fogged. Oh, you already wanted to. This is ballsy. This is very ballsy, but it pays off. They're going to be able to find the Queen of Pain. Archon know exactly what they're doing here. And they're going to be fine. And just tempting the quad there, encouraging her to stick around. Fantastic play there from the side, and they find the Queen of Pain and the Anti-Mage in those engagements.
Absolutely a win for Archon, like hands down now. Just getting the AM trade for an offlaner and a support, that was already okay. Now you've killed both the cores, definitely worth it. That was, I can't believe he went in on that.
Yeah.
Like, so when you're playing Storm and you're out of mana, you feel really scared, right? Like, if you have to use all your mana to go in, you better be damn sure that hero's dying. Because if you're not, and it doesn't die, then all of a sudden you have no way of getting out. So again, really nicely done by Archon. They've even, and the MVP Clockwork March flares the pit, assuming that this is going to be up soon. Just like the anticipation from both teams, the way they're playing this.
Oh, Febby.
Febby's in trouble.
He's in a lot of trouble.
Febby dead. Oh, nice force stab. Still dead though.
Godlike streak now for us here on the Gyrocopter. I mean,
this Roche is so important for both teams, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, AM and Queen will probably both be alive. I'm not sure if Febby's going to be up for this. So it's going to respawn. Okay, Febby's definitely not going to be up. So they're going to potentially have to fight this 4v5. They have the tier 2 bottom lane, but if they let this go, it's actually such a good timing for Archon. If they can't contest this Roshan, like, that's another thing about losing the AM and the Queen in that top lane is this Roshan spawn timing was perfect in lining up with what Archon were able to do in that fight. And I think MVP also only smoked because they knew it was going to spawn. So Febby's up in 15.
Oh, look at this as well. The ice, just little things like that, holding back the side of MVP.
No, Archon got this. I think they have this. They're going to lose Chad, though.
It doesn't matter. I mean, they find the Aegis. So, I mean, that is something I think they'll be happy trading the Omni Knight for a Roshan and an Aegis at this point. And I've got to be honest, overall here, here we go, let's hold up forward here. We're going forward onto the quad. Disruption will be there to turn this one around, or at least try to. QO gets the ultimate out, but now pops his BKB, but it is going to be a defensive 1-on-1 on the retreat here, as Archon don't look to continue this fight and look to just get themselves the hell out of there. But overall, this is a totally different gameplay, and just a skill level that we're seeing from Archon in this game compared to game 1, in which they got absolutely crushed almost by MVP, but this time, they're certainly looking to be the stronger opponent.
There's kind of a saying where you play against an opponent who might be better than you, that you kind of elevate your game, you know? Like when you play Dota with people who are better than you, you learn faster, you know, you adapt, you become better than maybe you are normally. I think that's kind of what's happening here for both teams, because this level of play from these two teams in a wild card just makes me more excited to watch the rest of the international, right?
Yeah.
Like
this is fantastic.
This is the kind of game where you look at it and you're like, you know, so much is on the line for both teams, and they're just playing their hearts out. So I gotta say, like, this series for me, like, even though it's the first series, it's been really exciting to see how Archon have kind of developed through game 1 and 2.
Indeed, Archon trying to do their best here to bring this game to the third game, of course. In case you did not know, it's double elimination here, and this is indeed the first round. So if you lose this, you know, you're not totally out of it. You're going to have a second chance to play up against the loser of C-Deck and Vega. But still, you want to get yourself straight up to what essentially is the winner bracket final. The winner of this will just have to win one more best of 3, and then you're in. You're into the international, and you're guaranteed $50,000 minimum prize, which that compared to nothing, if you lose the wildcard stages, is a huge jump.
Yeah, and this is double elim best of 3 as well, which means if you do lose here, you still have another shot.
That's right, yeah.
So if there's anyone out there who's a fan of either team, whether it be Archon or MVP,
don't start crying if
don't worry if they lose
worry.
this series, they still got another shot. Now, I will say that the brackets worked out in an interesting kind of fashion where C-Deck and Vega are playing each other on the mainstream, which are two of the teams that I would say the majority of people thought were just going to go through. So now we're going to get an opportunity to see either Archon or MVP play against the loser of that series, which I haven't been able to see the game, so I don't know what the series is at right now, but either way, we're in for some damn good Dota today.
Indeed, Gyrocopter Satanic now complete on top of the butterfly. He's going to be able to do a lot in this fight. His BKB is down to 5 seconds, but it's kind of questionable whether that really matters when you've got an Omni Knight who's got Repel on top of it. So it's always going to be able to top you off, and here we go, Croc going on to QO. Again, the defensive disruption there from Nuts. Going to be able to allow the Crop the time to get himself out of this one.
Now, this is a really tense game. I think, man, that Gyro is so farmed. Like, we talk a lot about Korok this game and how it's very important for him to initiate on the right heroes and have the impact during the mid game, but it's almost to the point now for Archon where the Gyro is going to take over. The Gyro is just going to be like, okay, well, I got 5 or 6 items. I got my BKB, my Satanic, my Butterfly.
Oh, we just go straight into, I mean, look how aggressive they're playing. Korok is kind of very low on mana, but they've actually lost the Omni Knight here as the Korok's finally able to finish down on Korok. He's incredibly low. Maybe it doesn't matter because Ashi's just on the front lines fighting it all up. There's going to be the snowball there onto KP, but now it's Archon that may be thinking about getting themselves out of here. They've already lost 2 here. Q blinking forward. They're going to look for the hook shot there from March on the clockwork. He's not going to find anything, and it looks like Archon will just be able to get the rest of themselves out of there. But Archon, they're going very deep and very aggressive. And again, we see him zipping onto Febby on the call. They do get the kill, but they do lose their 2 supports and just find the 1 from MVP.
That was a really nice play from QO. His combo hit, I think, on like 3 of Archon and just like immediately deleted them from the team fight. And the way that he positioned, I don't even think they saw him. I think like before, like he was in fog, standing in a little tree line over there below the large camp. He just threw out his ulti and scream, and Chad just kind of exploded. There was not really much he could do about it. So the Omni needs to be a lot more aware about where he's standing inside of the team fights and make sure that he can get some spells off. Because if he dies without casting a Repel or a GA, it's going to be really tough, I think, for Archon to win.
And KP now picking up the Eagle song and 2.7k gold in the bank as well. You've got to remember, when there's this point where you've got the boost to travel on KP on the anti-mage, and you've got a Cottle with recall. So the split pushing, the rat Dota is going to be real with the anti-mage. If you want to play like that.
The other thing about it too, and I completely agree, by the way, like the split pushing is going to be kind of a nuisance, is if you have a hero like anti-mage against Storm, and the Storm has to go Bloodstone Lincolns, you're not really going to have the damage to solo kill the AM. That's going to become a huge problem, because as a Storm, you want to have that solo kill potential on any rat hero. Like, that's actually one of the reasons why Storm is so good, because he can kill the rats. But AM is not a rat that he can kill in the late game.
Oh, Rush. He's been flicked away and Ray's out of mana now. KP going to work, and now here, Cure jumping forward here with the BKB himself. Looking for Korok. Korok's going to be able to zip himself out, pulling in Nuts. Should be able to find a kill into Shadow, and that's going to be your first one dead. Dominating kill streak here for Korok, and the fight's going to continue here. Cure trying to do with the right place for Korok. He's trying to do his best to outplay him in the mid lane as well. They do lose the Rubik here. Hook shot onto Korok, controlling him for the time being here. They've got KP coming as well. He's got the mana boy. He tries to get it off, but it's not going to matter anyway, because he does have the Linkers available. And he goes for the Bloodstone Deny anyway, though, just to make sure Cure can't chase him down there with a final blink. So they have got a Storm off the map. Rubik is dead. MVP only losing the Shadow Demon. And they do take the tier 2 in the mid lane. Now this is, KP. Jumping straight forward here onto Ush. Ush has been repelled up from one. KP maybe thinking about man fighting this one, but maybe doesn't want to here. He's getting caught up in a homing mess. He's getting low. And now the snowball as well. MSS with the plays. It doesn't matter. KP is able to blink himself out. Now QO going forward onto MSS. Ush moving forward. He's fairly damn fast with the phase moves, with the SMY. Looking for QO. Not fast enough to chase up that blink though. The homing missile going to continue to fly forward. March there with the Cogs there blocking him off. And Ush is just chasing this down on his own. Maybe he wants to think twice about this one. Nuts with the defensive disruption. Can you chase this? The slow from the sigil getting close and personal here with Nuts, and looks like Nuts in a lot of trouble there. Throws out the Zamani place. Korok, well, he's maybe thinking about finding KP. KP blinks away. The recall will be there as well as he gets himself out. But nonetheless, Archon were not happy about the fact that MVP started to push, and they just jumped to them with their teeth baring.
All I want to say for that whole engagement is MSS punched a Manta. If he punched the actual AM, the AM would have died. Like, that was so heartbreaking. Like, he manted, and the AM, the real AM, actually took damage. So I thought MSS would like be on top of it and just, oh yeah, punch the AM, kill him. But unfortunately, he might have misclicked and just hit one of the Manta illusions, and then KP is able to blink away because of that. So missed out on a big kill opportunity. A little bit of a bummer. They didn't have to buy back on anyone, which is good. So Archon are going to have their full arsenal of buybacks in case MVP are going to be able to get a push together anytime soon. But what I imagine is very similar to what MVP did on the previous Roshan, where they smoke about like a minute or two before it's going to be up, and they look for aggression. Now, either team can do that. It's just about anticipating your enemy's movements when it comes to that point. But Roshan most likely going to be the next very highly contested area.
Looking at the arms being picked up now, we've got Gyrocopter 100 gold away from that MKB as well. So he's getting himself very, very close.
He's almost 6 slotted. Yeah. And he can still buy Moonshard, obviously. Yeah. And then he can go for the bots. But yeah, this gyro is going to be massive. The other thing about Ush, too, which I found a little bit interesting in the last team fight, is he got initiated on, right? He got mana leaked, and he forced a BKB. But he never used a Satanic. Like, when you have Butterfly Satanic and your BKB's on, you just click people, right? I feel like he missed out on a lot of damage that he could have been doing during that fight. But here we go, another smoke up. MVP inside of Archon's woods right now, and I think they're being spotted. This is nice as
well. I mean, MVP just popped down the walls. They might think they're safe, but now that Ush has been revealed on the high ground, they're going to know that the gap is coming in, going straight for the KP here with the Hex. Mark going forward here with the hook shot now. It's going to be Chad getting off the GA. They've been able to take down the block. The damage from Ush is just too much. It's beyond godlike for him. KP trying to really come, but no, the telekinesis this time is going to be on an illusion. KP hiding in the tree line. MVP lose to, looks like the AM will be able to get out here with the recall. But again, Archon taking the fight. Ping's coming out to Roshan. Still going to be a few minutes before he is back up. 29 to 23. Archon, they're certainly doing it in mid lane. Oh, sure, he's fine. He's got the backup. Korok and the team are here. Going for the Glimmer KP. He's going to be able to buy KP the time. They don't have the detection. Fog did have a gem. He doesn't have it anymore, but now it's run out. And now with the Hex onto KP, that's a massive kill. They're bringing down the anti-mage beyond godlike here on your Gyrocopter. And Archon at this point, they might very well want to try and force out that buyback from the AM by pushing down the mid lane.
They absolutely will. They have to. Because that means if they force the buyback now, Roshan's going to be up in less than 2 minutes.
Oh, QO. Korok going straight in with the Orchid. Fog moving back in. He's got a telekinesis available. QO does get the BKB off now. And with the ultimate, will bring down the Rubik. Blinks herself up to the high ground. QO does get away with that one scot-free as she's recalled back to the base as well. But again, it was close there for the co-op. You know, BKBs are being forced out. And imagine most of them on the map very close to 5-second duration. 6 seconds at the moment on your Queen of Pain.
Man, that was so close. I cannot believe that ulti actually hit Fog. He's probably sitting there going, man, how did that hit me? Like, I was so far out of the cone. But at the bright side, they buy a little bit of time for the AM to get closer to his revival point. You know what? That play right there might have just saved the AM having to buy back. And that is massive. Say, for instance, you're fighting Roshan and your AM has buyback and the Coddle is alive. You just pull KP right back into the fight. You can have 2 AMs for 1 Roshan. That is an insane advantage to have if you're MVP, and one of the strengths that a Coddle can give you during this late game is being able to bring those heroes directly back into the fight without needing something like Boots of Travels or like Boots of Travels level 2 if you don't have any creeps around. So this is a little bit of an issue for Archon now. Like, they've used a smoke. They got a couple of really important kills for sure, so I'm not saying that the smoke was failed, but now they're kind of in this awkward spot where they know Roshan's going to be up soon, but they also know that they didn't make the AM buy back. So now they're going to be fighting under the assumption that that hero is going to be there, and if they want to play super aggressive, they can just have the AM go in first, die, buy back, and then just continue fighting. So I think MVP might be slightly favored for this next Roshan attempt.
This is going to be interesting to see what both teams decide to do in response. As you said, going to be up any second right now. Korok's going to scout this one out, and the pings coming out as well. Are they ready to go for it? And we've got 5 heroes around here, Archon. Only a couple here on the side of the MVP, but we've got to remember the Cottle's there. He's going to be able to call people in. And there's actually, well, a couple of TPs on Nuts and a TP on QO as well. And here's the split push we're talking about as well. KP here in the top lane. And this is going to be the bit of an issue here for Archon. Do they go for Roche or do they back? They've got to back, and that's going to give Roshan free.
There's no tier 2. There's no tier 2 in the top lane. He's just going to go for base. Okay, they're going to jump Febby.
The base? Oh, I kind of want to look at the base at the same time. I mean, they're going for the fight here, but look, there's an anti-mage on your base, ladies and gentlemen. Korok getting himself out, but they're sticking around here. Archon continues to fight. KP's just going to take the total set of racks here. They do manage to get 2 kills here. Maybe it doesn't matter if Archon can go aggressive enough to take a set of racks themselves. 2 buybacks coming out for the Cold from the Clockwork. Shadow Demon is down, and now they're going to look for a set of racks.
They have to throw.
But look at this. Look at this. KP's just continuing to go for the base. He's going to look for a second set of racks. Archon, they might not even find one. There's 4 heroes up on the side of MVP ready to defend. They continue to fight as much as they can. They take down Febby as a triple kill here for Korok. Now they look for QO. But look at the base. KP, what's he going to do next? He could go for the bottom set. Look for Megas. He's going to be Archon. They're looking to finish the game here. They're going for the finish. QO's back. He buys back. He pops the BKB. He's going to be very careful about losing his life here. This is an incredibly tense part of the game. MSS getting low. They're taking down 1 tier 4. They're looking for the second, but at the same time, the damage from KP. He's going for the second tier 4 here in the mid lane. The buyback comes out from Trust though. He's going to look for the defense. Maybe look to stop KP. He needs to stop this anti-base, but KP just continues. Tier 4's going to go down, but on the other side, the throat's exposed as well. They're going to pull the Guardian Angel, continue to hit it. But he's been hexed up. He can't get the damage out onto the throne. KP is going to kill himself, and he needs to get himself back to base. He commits suicide. Fight back. Goes for the storm spray. He's going to kill him. He's getting Archon the hell out of their base. Buyback from Gyrocopter as well, because they need to defend their own fountain.
Oh,
what the hell's going on, Andy?
Okay. All right. Let me find my words. Just give me a second. Okay,
let me just open my energy drink.
KP goes in, right? He assumes that they're going to defend, so he goes for the second set of racks. If he just went for throne right away, they would have just won the game. Like, they actually would have just won the game if they went for throne. Like, it's crazy to say that, right? But the other thing, too, is Archon, they had to buy back as well. Like, the Gyrocopter bought back. That was godlike. AM had to buy back as well. Korok died. Like, they're going to get Roshan now, so MVP obviously in the better position. Even though both thrones are exposed, Like, the throne for MVP is actually at half, and they don't have Glyph. What if they just YOLO this? What if they just walk in and hit the throne?
They could end this. They just need to go straight
They can
for
just
the base.
run straight in.
They know there's no fortification.
They need to go. They see Roshan die. They have to run it right now.
They haven't got GA. They haven't got, but it doesn't matter. Crocky goes in.
Oh my
with
god,
a
did they
belt.
just lose?
Is this it?
Did they just lose the
MVP
game?
last spot. Go forward for the hook shot, but don't pump the BKB.
Oh
they
my
hit
god.
the front. It's over. Archon, they take the second game of the series.
Oh my
We're going
god.
to game 3.
Oh my god.
What?
No Glyph. With no Glyph, they go for the Roshan. It took too long, Owen. It took too long.
What a game.
This is the first series
TI5.
at TI5. This is a first series. We're
Now-
going to game 3.
We're going to game 3.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, if we're going to break it down analytically and we look at the whole exchange of what went down. So KP is pushing top lane. He knows Roshan's going to be up soon. So he's basically forcing Archon to make a decision. He's like, you either back, you go for me, we get Roshan for free. Because as soon as they back one hero, that hero has to be strong enough to contest the AM. So it has to either be Korok or it either has to be the Gyrocopter, right? So Usher and Korok are the only two who can go back. If that happens, that means they get Rosh because they have a Keeper of the Light. They can pull him in. Archon probably realized this, and they say, look, we have a strong enough 5-man to where we think that they can't fight us 5 versus 5 anymore. So KP stays inside of the base, and he just trades racks. He's like, okay, if we want a racks trade, we might have a better rat team, and we still potentially have Roshan advantage after they back off. And if they don't fully back off, we know they're in Rosh, and we can try to fight around that. So then, KP decides he wants to go for double racks as soon as he sees Archon pushing into the base. But Archon say, okay, if we're double racks, we're just going to go throne because we've already killed bottom. And then they start going for throne, and KP realizes, okay, well now I actually just have to go for throne too. If he had decided to go for throne right away, he would have forced Archon back, and he would have been able to get Roche for the team. Now, I'm not saying it would have ended there. I'm not saying that MVP would have won, but maybe it would have been the better play. Either way, super intense game. I'm ready for game 3.
That was incredible. That was incredible stuff there, and indeed, as you were saying midway through the game, both teams proving that they're doing everything to make their way through the wild cards.
That was absolutely sick.
You can't argue with the fact that this is Archon and MVP Phoenix playing at their best.
Yeah, absolutely.
No holds barred.
Yeah.
They're going all in, and as you said, we will be going to game 3, ladies and gentlemen, so do not go anywhere. I'm sure you won't after that fantastic display between the two sides, as game 3 will be right around the corner here at the International 2015 Wildcard Stages.